Hello and welcome back to another episode on Journey to Authenticity, a podcast helping you to become fully authentic on your journey to success. I'm your host, Braiden Belnap, and I'm a human just like you, striving to build a dream life, all while I stay true to myself. But what if you're in a position of lack of direction within your business or even with yourself? You're not exactly sure where to go, what you want in life, and ultimately how to get there. You're questioning as if you will accomplish success over when you will accomplish it. That's exactly why we have Jonah Moreno joining us today, because he's gone exactly through that. He took his passion from soccer, even playing semi-pro, to leaving that, pivoting into the life of marketing. Did he leave soccer behind? No, he found a new passion with marketing, being able to collaborate with brands that he loved as a child around soccer. He was able to mold what he truly loved while being able to take care of his family and building the life that he truly deserved through manifestation. That in mind, welcome to the show, Jonah.
What's up, brother? Good to be here.
Absolutely. We'll give Mark a shout out. Saw you speak on his stage and you killed it. So nothing better than to have you here on my own.
Appreciate it, man. Shout out Mark.
Absolutely. He's such a good guy. So just to jump right straight into things, what inspired marketing and branding for you, man?
I don't really, it's kind of something I just kind of fell into, right? I mentioned it before, but it all started when I hit up the father of a girl that I dated in high school, where he was the guy who rebranded Maverick from the old Western theme to what it is today. And that was just what he was in. And so I worked for him for free for a long time, just learning about the industry and branding and marketing and all that. And then it just kind of evolved into what I'm doing now.
And you're doing some pretty cool things now. So
Thanks, man.
It's a good thing to fall into.
Yeah, no, I absolutely loved it. Good. Thank the man above for helping me down the, bounce off all the idiot branches that I did and ended up in a cool spot, man.
Absolutely. It's crazy how past people can help you in your future so much.
Yeah.
And what I do realize is a lot of entrepreneurs get their start by working for free.
Yeah, man, there's obviously there's pros and cons to it, right? Don't get me wrong, I wish I would have gotten paid back then. Like if I think about it, like if I did the same thing but got paid, it'd probably be even better. But yeah, the idea getting in the door, I probably wouldn't have gotten in the door. They probably didn't have the funds to pay me if I asked for money back then. So it was awesome. The money that I had to pay now to learn what I did for free would be way more than we could have paid me. So
absolutely. Some of those courses out there is like $50,000 to learn everything that you know. I'm sure it's even more than that.
Everybody's got a course, man.
Everybody's
got a course.
They pay good money.
Yeah. Except for ours, we're actually launching a course for free.
That's cool.
Just like everything because of that, right? Where I was like, dude, all these paywalls, all these things, and like I learned for free. So I was like, we're just gonna give this away for free. It's not out yet, but like we're building a course right now that is gonna be totally free of us teaching everyone how to do YouTube.
That's amazing. Yeah. Sign me up. Seriously.
Sign up. It's free.
I'll be signing up, man. I really will. Because again, some of the main entrepreneurs here in Utah trust you. What age were you when you fell into marketing and branding?
20.
Okay. So you lived a life before marketing. Mm-hmm. I know we talked a little bit about that, but shine a light on what you were all about before marketing.
I was all about soccer and anti-work. Yeah, I didn't want to work, dude. I actually I was a big soccer guy. Played collegiate, played semi-pro, played a little bit of everything, right? And I didn't actually get my first job till I was 19. So I didn't work until I was 19. I put it off as long as I could because I was like, hey, if I could just like if I get through high school, like I was the kid in high school that like didn't have a car, I couldn't go anywhere, couldn't really do much unless the homies paid for me because I was like, I have no money. I have $0. All I do is play soccer and like hang out. And then in college, I was like, hey, if I'm really good at soccer, I'll get my college paid for.
Sure.
And then it was that like once I stopped playing college soccer and all my stuff was paid for, and then I went to like the semi-pro stuff where I like technically I wasn't getting paid still. And then I was like, oh shit, like I have no money and I'm married and like I'm supposed to provide, but I don't even know what that means. So I played soccer forever, and then I got my first job at a call center selling diabetic health solution stuff. Basically a scam. I was a scammer. I was a phone scammer for a while. And then did summer sales, and then hated that and hit up the marketing guy, and then
the journey just began for you.
Yeah.
And I feel like the best part of marketing, I actually fall in a marketing background as well. That was the first company I ever started, was in marketing.
Really?
Yeah. For a while I ran my favorite, and maybe you could take care of this. There's a lot of money in funeral homes, bro. A lot
Is
of
there?
money in funeral homes. Are you kidding me? I spoke at a funeral home conference. There's more Lambos.
Funeral home conferences?
Yes, dude.
Okay.
And there was there was Lamborghinis and everything there, bro. The owners of funeral homes make bank.
Really?
Yes, if they do them right.
How does one do them right?
I just ran the marketing, so I didn't run the operations or whatever, but it was pretty clear that a owner either knew what they were doing or how they did it.
If I may ask, what does good marketing in that space look like?
It's just like anything, right? First, you got to start with as far as I'm concerned, your online presence.
Yeah.
Right? You have to do that. But I would say what set a funeral home apart than the others is what they offered outside of the funeral. The care before. Are they actually taking like young guys, young women, young couples and helping them plan that funeral beforehand? So they have to win in the front and the back end. But not only is the back end, the end's not the funeral. The end is taking care of the family afterwards. So being able to constray that in their messaging of, hey, we're just not here to take care of your loved one that passed away. We're here to take care of you from the front to the end, are the funeral homes that won.
So in your experience, how did the best portray that message? Like, how did they get that to the most amount of people where it actually converts?
Man, this is a podcast in itself. First is consistent social media. Being able to get into social media, but I would also say influencing the community by getting in the community. Getting booths, having open houses, things of that nature. Email marketing, right? Email marketing and text marketing, I would say people thought email marketing is lost. I would say it's still there as long as you're doing it in an authentic way. So, you know it better than me at this point. I've been out of the marketing game for a while, but anybody that's posting consistently on social media, specifically long form, you can use short form to convert, but you're not going to get a long-term customer if you're not doing long form marketing.
Yeah.
Being able to tell that story and then taking it off of social media. Are you getting involved with the community? Are you actually taking care of that one person that's going to be a lifetime customer that's going to tell 10 other people?
Wow. You learn something new every day.
Yeah. Funeral homes was my favorite too, because the owners were just genuine people, man. I mean, sure, there's some money in the game. The funerals are expensive.
Yeah.
Land is expensive. But the ones that I knew, I'm still friends with some of them that I worked with years ago.
Well, dude, next time I see you, I will hit up some funeral homes and see what I can do, dude. Because I'll let you know how it goes.
Please do. So we can chat. Man, that was a tangent. I was just going to highlight the fact that you get to take all your passions with you. Like if you like a specific topic, if you like a soccer, you just did a huge, you just hit gold as far as I'm concerned. You get to market around what you're passionate about. So even though it may have not been your first passion, which was soccer, you still get to bring that with you and do what you love.
Yeah. Yeah, man. We did some cool stuff with the brand Kaye, right? And Travis, who owns Kaye, is just a great guy. He's doing some cool stuff. I'll actually say this because he just got a grant, like $350,000 grant from the city of Salt Lake City, and he's building out different like soccer parks and stuff for the community outside of like the building of Kaye. And so in the next like couple of years, you're going to see a bunch of free open soccer parks for people to come and like hang out and play street soccer.
That's amazing.
So,
and again, what better way to be? Marketing and branding allows you to see the people that you care about most win, because you have a skill set that can help you and others. But again, you get to do what you love in just a different way.
yeah, man. It's cool because I've always, like, the storytelling aspect is always something that I loved, right? Like, I was a Disney kid, right? I loved all the Disney movies growing up. I was the kind of kid that, like, as I was watching the movie, I'd sit there and be like, oh, I wonder why Grumpy in the Snow White is so grumpy, dude. Like, why'd they make Grumpy so grumpy? And then people would be like, just watch the movie, man. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, never mind. You're right. I'm just going to watch the movie. Then I'd watch. And then, like, growing up now, and then I'm like, okay, why did they choose those, right? Stories are awesome because at the end of the day, the people who tell the best stories win in business. That's it. And that's why I feel so passionate about it. It's not just like I'm a weird Disney kid that, like, I have all the Disney pins. Like, I don't give a rat's about that. What I do care about is the storytelling aspect of, like, how did Disney become the face of storytelling, and what they've been able to do with it actually change the world. They own everything now. Storytellers rule the world, and it really is, when it comes to business, people kind of forget that, like, the art of storytelling is actually way more important than, in my opinion, than really what you're selling. Because if you're a really good storyteller, you could sell anything. That's all it comes down to.
It is. It's the connection, right? People don't buy what you're selling. They buy who's selling the product.
Yeah.
That's true for the most part. And I think that comes down to the concept of why versus what. If you're going to make any sell, you got to start with the why over the what, because that's what people are going to buy.
Yeah.
And your story is what highlights the why. You're bringing the person from start to finish as to why you believe in that product or service, which naturally converts them to be curious of the what, naturally converting that sell.
Yeah, I agree.
So storytelling, well, you had a passion for it since a young age, it sounds like. So do you feel like that's what you like most about what you do is the storytelling, or what's your biggest passion when it comes to marketing?
I would say my biggest passion is actually figuring out what, like, stories to tell. And because I'm not the best videographer, editor, or photographer. Like, I'm not the best at that, but what I am really good at is kind of going into, like, either a personal brand or a company and coming in and being like, okay, what is your, like, tell me everything that makes you special. And then let's figure out how it's different, how it fits into the marketplace, and then where the target customers are, and how to tell what stories to talk to them. I know there's a lot, but hear me out. Right. So we just worked on, we had a SaaS company come through, and they were working with a YouTube agency before, like a content creation agency before. And as we talked to them, they had like 50 videos on YouTube, like long form, and a bunch of shorts and whatnot. And they came to us because they're like, it's not growing as fast as we'd want to, which is always a red flag, but that's a whole other conversation. But they're like, it's not growing as fast as we want it to grow. So we came to you guys, and I kind of, after doing a bunch of research on the company, talking to everybody and whatnot, after like a couple of days of research and talking to people, I kind of sat down and was like, okay, and it's simple now. It's just like, okay, SaaS company, who's buying SaaS? I've never in my entire freaking life gone onto YouTube and been like, I hope I find what I'm looking for. Like, there's a problem in my company. I hope there's a software company making YouTube videos that like fixes my problem. My algorithm isn't SaaS companies.
Absolutely.
And I don't know anyone whose YouTube is SaaS companies. So like, I was just like, guys, do you know who is doing that though? People on LinkedIn. So like, why don't we tell what your product does, not teach about your product? Like, let's make some YouTube videos teaching about your product on YouTube. You can still make YouTube videos if you want to make YouTube videos. I think it's a good idea. But let's take what your product will do to other people's like increase productivity and tell those stories on LinkedIn and optimize for LinkedIn, make videos and optimize like what posts do well for that niche on LinkedIn. And in 6 months, you will see way more leads. And they didn't end up working with us, but they took the idea. And in 1 month, they had 8 times more leads posting on LinkedIn than they did posting on all the other platforms. But brands get kind of caught up in this, like, where people Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, and it's like, yes, they are, but depending on your company, you're going to want to do it very like use different platforms as strategic as possible.
You got to be intentional.
Yeah.
1,000%. And that's even like you said, what story do you tell? It's also, where do you tell the story?
Yeah.
Because you could have the most beautiful story. If you're not talking to the right audience, it's not going to do anything for you.
Yeah. And I'll even share one other thing is like people, when they think about like social media and whatnot, it doesn't matter what industry you're in. It's always like, I don't know what to talk about. Like, I don't know what to post. Right. And I don't know if you know Michael McHenry.
Yeah.
But I was talking to him and he's like, well, what would we even post here at Sunday's Best? And it happens all the time. But I'm like, brother, you have you in yourself. Michael McHenry, if anyone knows Michael McHenry, he's an absolute story. Right? Like that dude's a walk-in story. That dude's good. But you have you interacting with customers, people walking in the door, you greeting people as they walk in the door. You have your employees. Like, what do they like about the job? What do they like about today specifically about the job? Are you serving something new? Let's talk about the menu. Let's talk about the chef's story, how'd they get there? Let's talk about how, like, what's coming. Like, are they testing new things? Are they trying to come up with something new for the menu? Are you testing out what events, because he does events, right? And I'm like, you guys could talk about what events you're planning. You could talk about how you're trying to build, like, what are the problems that you're trying to get over while you build your 2 other restaurants, like, as you expand. Why did you decide to expand? I'm like, that's 10 different things you could post today. Like, there are too many stories to tell that people don't even think about.
And I think that's you said it. I would say that being a coach, people get caught up in the, what do I do?
Mm-hmm.
Just do.
Yes.
Man. I mean, there's only so much. Planning is important. Don't get me wrong. There's obviously 4 keys when it comes to business and really winning in business.
Yeah.
Just execute after you plan it. You can put a plan together, but just tweak it as you go. Because does that ensure winning? Let's be real. That doesn't ensure winning. But ensures you getting a lot further than not trying at all.
Yeah. And I get it too, man. Like, planning's way more fun. You know, because most of the doing sucks. Like, most of the doing consists of you, like, cold calling and you doing, like, taking time to edit a video. That takes a long time. And editing sucks because you hear the same part of the same song 50,000 times over again. You have to go through a ton of footage to see what parts hit and what parts don't. And then sometimes you get to the end of the edit and it doesn't hit and it's just not a good video. And so you have to restart. Like, the doing sucks. So I get it. But if you don't try it, you're never going to understand why the video, like the edit didn't work in the first place. Exactly. Or the idea didn't work. Or why you're not getting clients because you're cold calling. Like, you don't understand, okay, this kind of approach to cold calling doesn't work. And so you won't ever learn unless you actually do stuff. Kind of like how Gandalf said, dude, the world isn't in your books and maps, man. It's out there. Like, you just got to actually go and live and go try it.
It teaches you more than anything else. You do need a foundational knowledge. I mean, you just can't be blowing smoke up people's butts and sell like that. You probably could actually win for some time, but you will crash and burn.
Yeah.
But that's why I love the game of business and marketing is, again, you probably will lose for some time. But that's the best part is 99% of people are going to give up every new level you reach.
Yeah.
Because it gets harder and harder. So that's why I find enjoyment, because I'm like, I know I'll never give up. Like, I just know that. So that means I will win. I might not win today. I might not win tomorrow. I might not even win next year.
Yeah.
But as long as I keep going and intentionally growing and tweaking things as I go, I'll become better and better. And at some point I will win.
Yeah.
And that's why people like you are important, because business owners might be good at their product. They might be good at their service and executing that on the client front end. They might suck at branding and marketing and telling their story. And that's why it's in business. It's crucial to lean on other people to actually win.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's a hard balance, right? Because most of the time, huge props to you for what you're doing with this too, man. Because it's hard because, I guess, kind of at Scallywag, we started Scallywag because once we left the YouTube channel, and the YouTube channel was awesome, dude. Like, it was a dream job. But at my dream job, I lived in my parents' house, right? Like, so I'm living my dream job, and I can't provide for my family, right? These 9-to-5s that I kind of that I had, they were awesome, and I was slowly going to, I guess, go up the corporate ladder, and it didn't matter. Like, my best case scenario on most of my jobs still sucked, and I couldn't live the life that I wanted to live. I remember sitting there with a piece of paper. I wrote down the life that I wanted to live, and it's nothing crazy. Like, I'm a pretty just normal dude. I don't want crazy things. I don't want the Lambo. It's none of that. But I wrote out a normal life that I wanted, and I was like, is this possible where I'm at? Yes or no? Like, what would I have to be doing at this company for this life to be a reality? And then I'm like, dude, I'd have to be the GD CEO. Like, what the hell? Like, that's never going to happen. So I was like, okay, who's living this life that I want to live? And I kind of looked around again, and I was like, people who have their own businesses. So it's not that I was I want to start my own business. I was never the guy that was super selling. Everyone has the same story. Like, I sold freaking duct tape wallets or selling candy when I was in 5th grade. Like, I was never that guy. I don't love working. I like hanging out with the boys and hanging out with my wife and my kid. That's what I like doing. So what gets me more of that is doing this. And so I just went that way. It's not like I had a huge passion for I need to grow a business. It was just who's living the life that I want? And I just did that.
That's the way to go. But that shows a lot about you too, is that you were willing to pivot. And that's the most critical way of winning in anything. I mean, you come from a soccer background, right? If you're not coachable, if you're not willing to pivot along the way, if you're not willing to be better, if you're stuck in your way that this is the way to kick the ball when it's not, you will ensure failing.
Yeah.
And so in life, you were headed down a path. And I'm sure you learned a lot along this path of being a 9-to-5 or whatever the case was.
Yeah.
You saw it wasn't working and you pivoted. And unfortunately, people won't pivot, and that's what gets them stuck and wishing that they would have at 95 on their deathbed.
Yeah, and I guess I gotta clear this up too. So it's not that I'm anti people who work a 9-to-5.
Sure.
Right? I'm not. What I am anti is people that they make a lot of choices to get where they're at, and then they complain about it. Right? I'm not anti 9-to-5. I am anti you working a 9-to-5 and then bitching to me about how you hate your life. I'm like, dude, every single day you have another chance to change this. Yet you choose every single day to stay where you're at. That's what I'm anti.
100%.
Dude, don't come at me that I'm you work at Walmart and because you want to be a financial planner. Dude, if I had a mother effing dollar every single time somebody said to me they want to be a financial planner, and then they work some stupid job where they're broke, and I'm like, do you not put this together? You are a broke financial planner. Do you know how messed up this is? Like, do you not see the redundancy in this? Like, what are you doing? And then it's just this, when you start complaining about the choices that you make, that's the kind of what I get at when I talk about that.
Well, and I agree with that. And I love that you highlight that, because entrepreneurs can't win without the 9-to-5ers.
Yeah.
We can't dog on it that much, right?
No, dude.
Like, we literally need them to win.
Yes.
You can't get to a certain level being a solo entrepreneur.
Exactly.
It's impossible.
Exactly.
So I respect that you say that, because everybody has a place in this world.
Oh yeah.
100%. If you're not happy with where you're at, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And that's where I just ensure having the mindset of starting over stopping.
Mm-hmm.
I talked about this in an earlier podcast. It's important to start. Like you mentioned, we have a new day. So run. If you don't like something, don't sit here and think about the problem and how to work through it. No, just run at what you want to do. Stopping is so toxic. It creates emotions that you don't need to deal with. Not real.
Yeah.
Just run at what you want.
Yep.
If you love the business that you're in and it's not working, okay, you don't need to stop it. Just start something new to make it work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always, I totally agree with you, because it's always this constant battle of like, look, we can justify almost anything, right? We can justify why you're not where you want to be. But is that way? Like, if you want to win, I had this conversation the other day where somebody's like talking to me about how their childhood was so hard, right? And I'm like, look, I had such an easy childhood. It's actually ridiculous how easy my childhood was. But I had like the dream storybook childhood, man. I really did. Awesome friends. I hung out with my brothers all the time. We all got along. We never fought. Like, it was the dream, man. But if you want to win, like, we started chatting about it. I was like, bro, if you want to win the worst childhood award, bro, you got it. Like, I can give you a medal. Like, I get Absolutely. It. I'm not saying trauma's not real, but I am saying, like, is the goal here to justify where you're not?
Absolutely.
Or is the goal here to change? Because, like, we could talk about your shitty childhood all day, but, like, you're choosing to live in your childhood every single day, dude. Like, go change something about it and then tell me how that's going. Get enough data. I'm a big data guy. Because it's like, if you don't have enough data to tell me, like, things should pivot, or you're not looking at the data, like, you look at the data and be like, I've lived this many days doing this thing and it's gotten me this outcome. What are we doing? Like, the data says this, that's it. There's no, oh, I had a shitty childhood. There's no emotion in that data, which is why I kind of like it, because there's no emotion in it. It's like, this is the data, bro. Like, you'd keep doing this and you'd get that. Like, stop this.
Absolutely. You hit on the point, the fact that you get what you focus on. Manifestation is a real thing.
Yeah.
Like, whatever you put out in the world is what you're going to get. The best way to ensure you don't succeed is making up reasons why you don't succeed.
Yeah.
Or making it up to why the person ahead of you is succeeding and why you're not. Oh, they got lucky. Oh, they did this. Luck is only found when you're working.
Maybe.
You can't find gold if you're not digging.
Yeah. So I'll ask you a question. Like, when you talk about manifestation, I'd love to hear how you got to, like, say that. You said that very strongly. Like, how did you get to a point, what event occurred in your life to make you say that manifestation is a real thing? So
when I transformed my life, within a year, I immediately jumped into sales. When I got into sales is when I truly persevered my mindset around goals, right? In this process, I tried every type of goal setting, writing it down morning and night, just writing it down and reading it out loud. I tried everything until I fully understood the power of vision boards. I didn't realize the power of goals. And let me preface, there's vision boards where you, like, cut out magazines and make it look cute and fun and all that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a vision board where you really take the time. And let me actually take us back up here. If you are going to create a full vision, you have to understand your past. You have to understand where you're at. You have to understand that God has a plan for who you will become and what you will achieve. And then you have to start with your life vision. You said it best. You took the time to write down your perfect life, everything that you would want to accomplish. That's going to be different for everybody. But actually taking the time to write that out, who do you want to be? What are the relationships that you want to have? What is the impact you want to make? What kind of business or career do you want to experience? What is the lifestyle you want? What are the materials you want? And from there, you create 3 to 9 specific goals that you want to accomplish, and you post them on a board with a picture. And then you have to make it very specific, measurable, specific, measurable, purposeful. If you do that and you are intentionally looking at it morning and night, the picture is powerful because it creates new beliefs, new thoughts, new emotions, creating new behaviors, getting you that result. When you see it, you start to feel it. And that behavior is, you act upon your emotions. Yeah. But before emotions is thoughts. It starts to rewire your brain, man.
Do you have one?
Yeah, right there.
Nice. Obviously, you guys can't see this, but
yeah,
it's up there. That's cool.
And manifestation comes in different ways. I'm not somebody that you have to, like, I'm not a crazy person about it, but the fact is whatever you focus on is what you get in life.
Yeah.
And when you can see something and feel something, naturally you're going to have new thoughts, new emotions, new behaviors, new results. That's why when we talk about, I love how you worked for somebody for free to begin, you saw what was possible. That shifted your belief system, creating new thoughts, new emotions, new behaviors, new results. That's why poor people stay poor. Middle class stays middle class, rich stay rich, because it's what's within their grasp. You are your environment, literally. So you become the 5 people you hang out the most with. It's because it's what's within your reach. Yeah. So this podcast has been the biggest thing for me because I get to hang out with people like you. Your results are within my reach, making me the next person up to reach the level of success.
That's cool, man. Well, I appreciate it.
So everything is manifestation. Awesome. What you focus on is what you get. If riches aren't within your grasp because the people you hang out with aren't in your grasp, I'm not saying that you have to burn those bridges today, but go pick up a book. Go learn from somebody. Yeah. Go watch a YouTube video. Go watch a podcast. Make what's within your reach closer to you. Might not be people right now. Might not be a big business. It might not be any of that. But you can start to be around what you want before you get it.
That's awesome. I guess in a way, it's not as much a vision board as it is. That's how, and I got to it's an awesome reminder to do it again, but that's the way I use Instagram. Actually, is I follow very few people on Instagram, and most of it isn't people that I know. It's like random nature accounts and things that like teach me about random stuff. And so because my kind of thought process is I was like, where do I spend most of my time when it comes, like I instinctively just kind of go to Instagram. That's like the app that's fair. At least personally that I go to, and so I got to go through and do another suite, but kind of like your vision board, I should try and make my Instagram that, where it's a constant updating.
Best way to do it, man.
Vision board per se, to be like, okay, I only follow things that is that. So
I often coach people to that.
Really?
Go through your followers and unfollow anybody you don't look up to. I don't care if it's your best friend. If they're being toxic online, then unfollow them. Yeah. And then when they come ask you why, let them know. You'll do them a favor. Might ruin your relationship, but trust me, they'll thank you in 5 years.
That's man.
Get rid of anything on your Instagram you do not look up to, first and foremost, or Facebook or TikTok, and intentionally follow the accounts that you want to be like, you want to attract. Make it positive. You're there my guess is you're there for probably 5 hours-ish.
Yeah.
If not more, a week.
Yeah.
Might as well make it good.
Amen.
So back to you. What is some hardships for you that you've experienced when it came to marketing, branding, building business?
It's hard because when you have something that you care so much about and you think about it all the time, like sometimes I still, when I get down in the dumps, bro, I like think about, I'm like, damn, I wish I had a 9 to 5. Like I really do sometimes, right? Where I'm like, go get my stuff done, come home, not think about work at all, and just like hang out with my wife and kid. Like that sounds like a dream. And then because it really is like the classic thing of like you give up a 9 to 5 for a 9 to 9, man. Like you never stop. And that's been not hard. I guess I had to put like, I guess it's a constant balance between, I never feel like I'm doing enough, right? I think the company should be growing faster. I think I should be there for the employees, like my friends, more, right? Like, am I setting them up for success? Is the reason that they're not selling the product as well as I think it should be sold, is it on me? Like, did I set up the processes well enough that they should be doing that? Those are the things that constantly just like go through my head. I want them to win so bad and them to make the $1 billion or however much money they want to make. Am I the reason that they're not being able to do that? Right. And that's tough because it literally is a never ending war with myself of like, okay, I'll work and then I'll hang out with Hannah, my wife, and then Hannah goes to bed and I'm like, there are 5 things that I know have to be done tomorrow. I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. Should I just do them right now at 11:30 p.m.? And then if I say yes, then it's like, am I giving up something else? Like sleep. You never know. All the unknowns. And then it's like, but if I say no, I feel lazy. And I'm like, the grind set that's in me, dude, that's like, you got to be working right now. Like somebody's out working you. Like if you're not, I grew up with like the same mentality, like while I was playing soccer and work and everything. It was like, if you're not putting in the work, somebody else is. I guess it's kind of coming back to biting me in the butt because I'm always like, dude, when I'm not working, somebody else is. And what if they beat me? So it's a constant battle, dude.
You know what I think? This is just personal opinion, unopinionated. I think the only person you're truly in competition with is yourself.
That's the scariest part.
That is. Because if you stay the same for so many years, you're not beating anybody. My question to you is, what if everything you've done is already enough right now?
Yeah, that's there. I guess there's not much of an answer to that other than it's that I have a unrealistic expectations, and I don't know.
So this is my opinion.
Yeah.
There's 3 things that I constitute my enoughness to. It's no result, nothing. Simply that I keep my word to everybody. I don't care if you're a stranger on the street. I'll keep my word to myself and others. I do my best and I grow. And if I accomplish all 3 of those every single day, I am enough.
Do you ever get like, when you say do your best, because again, I kind of go back to those late nights where I'm like, is my best, like I got more. When do you know when your best is?
It simply comes down to, I believe that if something's good to do one day, it's best to do every day. So what do I mean by that? Instead of saying that I'm going to work out an hour Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. No, right now, I probably could work out an hour a day. I don't. I work out 30 minutes every day. Why? Because it's good to do every day. But for that 30 minutes, I'm intentional, I'm present, and I work my ass off during that 30 minutes. So that's my best, is that I try to go to bed at the same time. I'm not going to lie, for the last couple months, I've been crap at it. I go to sleep at a different time. I wake up at a different time. That's been my goal this week, is getting that back on track. Go to sleep at the same time, wake up at the same time. Why? Because we're animals, man. So I do realize that I'm actually more efficient with a consistent sleep schedule than when I go to sleep a little earlier or when I go to sleep a little bit later. When I am consistent, I actually function a lot better during the day, allowing me to get a more optimal result. Everybody's different. Yeah. There's some entrepreneurs, like it sounds like yourself, that can go to sleep at like 1 and wake up at 6. I can't, man. Maybe I can. I'm just limited. I work a lot more efficiently with my time when I get solid 6-7 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
And consistently. The inconsistent messes me up for some reason.
Yeah.
And then if I force myself to wake up when I'm not consistent, I'm not even that efficient for the first 1 to 2 hours of my day anyways, because I'm groggy or whatever the case is. It's like when I'm consistent, I can go to sleep at the same time, wake up at the same time, and I can rock my day.
Yeah.
So when what I do is my best is I set my schedule the day before and I execute it the next day, because that allows me to win in myself, my relationships, my finances, my business, in every area, because it's already pre-scheduled. People say I have to take 30 days to build a habit. No, you don't. You have to follow a schedule. That's the only habit you have to build, because you can schedule your habits. If you want to go to sleep at a certain time, schedule it. If you want to wake up at a certain time, schedule it.
Yeah.
You just have to execute your schedule and build that habit.
Yeah, I just said, like, listening to you say that, like, there are definitely things I should be better at when it comes to my schedule, when it comes to, like, hey, let's schedule this out. My biggest problem when I do that is always that, like, okay, dot, and then once I get it done, I'm like, do I add on a little bit? Like, I got it done a little quicker. Do I add on a couple more things, you know? So
this would be my answer. The answer for me would be absolutely hell yes, as long as it's not taking away from you doing your best in something else. I'm not a fan of balance, but I am certain that I do want to be a master in all things. And in order to do that, I do have to have a schedule. If I want to be the best husband, I have to allocate time to my wife. If I want to be a good husband, I have to allocate time to maybe surprise my wife once in a while. Is that working? No, but if I'm working all the time, I want a solid relationship, man. Do I want to just work really hard my entire life? No, then I have to have a solid financial plan. That means I have to take some time to actually build out a strategy for that.
Yeah.
So let's say I have an hour allocated to writing a book, and then I finish the book within that 30 minutes and I have 30 more minutes. Maybe I do add on something, but it's not going to take away from my other thing either.
Yeah. No, I think it's an awesome way to do it.
And have to be better at. Going back to like my vision board, right? I don't have to wonder if my vision board will be accomplished. Every single thing on that vision board is already scheduled in my calendar over the next year to be accomplished. I don't have to think. It's the best part about it. You don't have to think. That conversation that I need to have with this specific person, it's in my calendar. I already know when it's going to happen. So what I find is the best way to get to the next level is set your calendar, execute it, and everything will fall into place naturally. It's kind of like the content plan, right? What do I post? Just post. Yeah. Your calendar that is there to make it easy for anybody listening, and maybe that's beneficial for you. I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
So this would be my next question to you. You've obviously had an awesome story. I mean, you grew up with an amazing family. I'm sure you're beyond grateful for that, for your parents. You played soccer, you killed it, you were good at it, you changed ways into marketing. How have you really found success, both in your own marketing and branding, but other people's marketings and brandings as well?
That's a good question. Just so I understand, is it like what practices, like how have I been able to actually help people when it comes to marketing and branding?
Yeah, like what are the steps? Like, for example, if you were to look at a personal brand like myself or a company, what are your steps to ensure that you take them from, or yourself from A to Z efficiently?
The easiest way to look at this, and it's just kind of something that everyone can take and go with, it's actually something I learned from Ernie. Ernie Harker is the guy who did the Maverick stuff. And something I learned from him is you just make like a little axis, right? And it's like, if you make a grid and you have the 4 different sections on the grid, and it's like you have the 2 things that represent your brand the most. Like you find 2 things that other brands in your niche can't say about themselves, but you can. Like what makes you special, You put the X and Y, and obviously in the top right is going to be where you want to be, and the bottom left is where you don't want to be. And so what happens, what you can do at home is if you can do that and put, like I said, well, let's just kind of do a little eyeball. Like, what are 2 things that you do very well that make you special?
So now you're putting me on the spot, man.
Yeah.
This is probably going to be good for me too. I would say, and this is, I don't know if it's special or not. Well, one's my story. I don't know if that constitutes as something. Does that constitute as something?
I would,
or no?
yeah.
My story is something that nobody else has. It's the reason I'm so passionate for personal development, why I got started at a young age, and why I kill it when somebody sits down with me to transform their lives. And then my operations. I can turn anybody's personal brand, podcast, business, and I can help it running like a smooth machine.
I asked, can somebody else copy that?
Possibly. I just think that I am so intentional with it where I've never met anybody that is as intentional as me.
Because I like to get to things that's like, it is impossible to copy. Like, your story is impossible to copy.
Cool.
Right?
So I wouldn't say operations is impossible to copy then. I would just say I'm really good at it. So my story.
And obviously, I do this and it takes hours, right? Like, I'm asking you to do it on the spot in like 30 seconds. But like, so what you would do is you'd put your story over here that like, because you write like, what about your story makes it special? You put that over here, and then you put the other one down here. And then what happens is anything that you produce has to be in that top right corner. Like, does it highlight my story, and does it highlight this? It's like, if it does, then it's good, it's on brand. Like, that's a brand, right? Where if you're trying to build it, it's like, I guess branding really is just like building associations, right?
Sure.
And so if you want to build your story, and if you like for Scallywag, right? It's easy. We already did this, right? So I guess can speak a little freely about it. At Scallywag, all of our stuff, we want to be like informative. We want to be fun guys. Like, we want to teach the whole narrative is like, people can't copy like the way we did the stuff with A for Adley. That was the YouTube channel. Like, that's impossible to copy because it's already done. Like, it had to be around Adley. Adley was awesome. Sean was awesome.
Sure.
Sean, it was Adley's dad. And so for Scallywag, it's like we've worked with Mr. Beast and Mark Rober and A for Adley and all these other huge people. And so it's like, okay, does it highlight? And we actually aren't the best at it right now. Does it highlight how fun, like what we do for fun? And does it highlight like how informative we are? If it doesn't, we don't post it. Because you take, like, if you can kind of put it on a graph, and it takes the emotion out of it too, right? And this is just the start. There's a way we go way deeper into this, because if you you have an idea for a piece of content or something that you want to do for marketing, or something, whatever it is, you can then put it on the graph. It's not an emotional decision. It's where does this go on the graph? Does it hit this, and does it hit this? If it hits this, but it doesn't hit this, okay, then you're up here in this top left quadrant. And it's like, okay, can we do something to make it hit both? And then you're able to take the emotion. It's way awesome for teams, because what you don't want is for somebody to have an idea and you to be like, no, like, we're just not going to do that. Like, thanks for the idea. No. Because people get attached to ideas, right? Like,
Sure.
It's an emotional thing because they
Make it about themselves.
yeah, they're like, yeah, this is my idea. Like, you're shutting me down. And it's like, no, I'm not shutting you down. Like, when people hit me with an idea, I'm like, where would you put it on the graph? And it's like, does it do this or does it do that? And it's like, okay, it does this, but it doesn't do that one as well. It's like, hey, look, that's awesome. Like, is there a way to make it up here?
Cool. So what I'm hearing, you have the axis,
Yep.
4 corners.
Yep.
On the right side is what, 2 things? Did I hear that?
Yeah, the X and the Y are 2 things or just like brand attributes.
Things that nobody can steal from you.
It's hard to steal from you, yeah. And it's like, what makes you special, really?
What's in the other 2?
So it's just
So
the X-axis and the Y-axis, right? So it's like those are the 2 things. And so top left would be like you don't do X very well, but you do Y very well. And then bottom right would be you don't do Y very well, but you do X very well. And then bottom left is you don't do X or Y very well. And then top right
Cool.
is you do both of them well.
I love that.
And so that's just like a simple, it's not simple explaining it without like a whiteboard. It is a simple thing that you can do to kind of see like, are we trying to stay on brand? Are we going in a direction that we like? Because there are a lot of good ideas, but will the idea push what you want to push? It's just, you just take the emotion out of it, put it on the board, yes or no, done. And then you go that way.
I love it.
So that's something that people can kind of take home.
And I would say that that's, again, getting to the next level is very simple. Like even for me, obviously I lead with the what and the why, but if I was more clear in my branding, I genuinely believe I would get a lot bigger, even with this podcast for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
So thanks for this, by the way.
Of course, man. And hit me up. Well, I'm down to sit down and talk about it too.
That's like strategic planning, right? What podcast do we do? Obviously, this is like 127 or something like that. It's like,
Dang.
as we get more granular, it's like, is every podcast meeting both of the brandings?
Yeah. Are you trying, like, unless it's like Joe Rogan, that Joe Rogan really is just like, we just talk about whatever.
He's just Joe Rogan.
It's just Joe Rogan. You're never going to be Joe Rogan. But that's, again, the thing that, like, if he's going to make your graph, that's what it, like, are we doing things that only Joe Rogan can do?
Exactly.
That's why his podcast does so well. So you're able to kind of look at it and if you took, because a lot of people love to podcast for podcast's sake, and like you might get some good clips, but it's like the value isn't maybe not there.
Exactly. Like, and to that point, I can do this a lot better, clearly. We've had more listeners this year than we have had in the last 2 years combined, simply because of the branding shift.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah, dude. It's been great. The simple concept is that 99%, if not more, entrepreneurs struggle with authenticity. The ability to be authentic and create something authentic is crucial for success. Because when something is authentic, you don't give up. It's a part of you. That's why I'm so confident that I will never give up on this, because I love it, but I also can make money with it.
Yeah.
So when I'm able to coach an entrepreneur of, okay, let's make you become the best version of yourself first and foremost, and then build an authentic company, they acquire that mindset. I will never give up. And that's when you ensure success over if I will succeed.
Yeah.
So I take brand seriously.
That's awesome.
Not worth it ruining it.
That's good, dude. Love it.
So to wrap some things up, a couple of quick hitters. Is there anything that you feel you could also leave with the audience that is simple when it comes to branding and marketing, that you feel are principles when winning the game?
There's, other than just doing the stuff, like just post, just get stuff out there. Yeah, collect enough data. You don't have enough data to stop posting. You don't. Nobody, like, not many people do. You don't post enough to tell me that, like, oh, it didn't work. You don't know what works because you only tried 5 out of the thousands of different content styles. Like, you don't know what's worked it. You don't have the data. Get the data. Try as much as you can. Get the data and then come back and talk to me about, like, this isn't working. Right? And if you do that, and then if you couple that with people, I guess right now, really what works is kind of what you talked about, right? I can talk about what Jonah likes. Because I really do like it. Like, I can talk about how much I really care about my friends that work with me, and my brother works with me. Like, I can talk about that. Like, talk, if you're a founder, if you're whatever, like, talk about what only you can talk about, and you'll find an audience. You really will, bro. There's a channel that we helped. Like, they grew from 0 to 4 million subscribers in 1 year on YouTube, posting candy, like freeze-dried candy, like ASMR freeze-dried candy stuff. Homie makes over $15,000 a month now posting shorts of 15, like, of freeze-dried candy. It's like, whatever you think is weird, like, there's a niche for it, especially on YouTube. People are weird, man. And
it's the ASMR that gets me, man.
Bro, ASMR is one of those, like, guilty pleasures that like nobody really wants to talk about, like that they like it, but if it like comes up accidentally, like you watch the full video and then you're like, I don't love that I love that. Like, it happens to me all the time. But the ASMR candy guy, like he just started posting ASMR candy and it works, and now he gets so many freaking views and he crushes it. There's a niche for whatever you're doing, but like do it in your way and then pivot, then look at the data and come back and try it again.
I love it. Is there any simple way, like for example, being vulnerable here, looking at podcast data is kind of exhausting.
Yeah.
It's like, one, I need to get a new platform because it doesn't track it all that well. It tracks like a sliver of it, which if I had not seen the full picture, it's also hard to be more laser as to what is working. But how do you simplify that?
There are a ton of platforms that you can use, like softwares that you can use where you put up like shorts and then it goes to post on all platforms from like one button. And so I would use one of those because most of those have good analytic tracking. And then you use the shorts because it's, however, I guess you could probably get 20 different shorts from a long form.
Yeah.
Not all of them are going to be bangers, but so I guess what's stupid about social media and whatnot is that most of the time the things you think are bangers aren't, and then things that you think are dumb like do really well.
Yeah.
And so if you get 20 per podcast, put them up onto a software that shoots it to everywhere, like every single platform with one click of the button, and then most of them will track results for you.
That's cool. Do you have any recommendations on the platforms for the audience?
I still haven't found. I guess there's so many. There's so many. Like the big ones are like Hootsuite, but they're just like expensive as balls. So it's like I wouldn't recommend Hootsuite. It's not worth it. But shoot, dude, if people find one, let me know. Like there's a ton of them out there. Just try different ones. We tried Cloud Campaign. We tried Buffer. We tried Sprout. Like we've tried a couple different ones, and I forget the name of the one that. What's wild is I forget the name of the one that we like the most. But use one of those. Test the shorts because the algorithms right now obviously are like going crazy. Especially so YouTube just changed shorts to where they can now be 3 minutes long.
Oh wow!
So it's like play with that. Get into. Because whatever thing that they are really testing, if you posted like a 2-minute video on YouTube Shorts, 2-minute, 30-second video on YouTube Shorts right now, it will be pushed because
that's what they're pushing.
That's what they're pushing. It's a new feature. They're going to push it. So just kind of stay up to that and be like, okay, use what people are pushing right now, and then you'll get way more interactions, and then test there. So
cool.
Right now, the best way I would go is test 1 to 3 minute videos on YouTube Shorts.
Then just push. I feel like that's true for all platforms, right? Whatever they do. Just do it in your own way.
Whatever the new thing is, try it and do it in your own way. And then that's the best way to get data, is because they want it way more than you do.
I love it, man. I could talk to you for a long time. You're obviously great at what you do. You obviously
appreciate it.
There's so many people in our circle that trust you. I trust you, and
thank you.
I'm excited when you get that course finished. Let me know, and we'll update this posting so people can snag that.
Awesome, dude. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. 2 last questions for you. One is, what is your definition of an authentic life?
That's tough because I'm also like whatever you want it to be, man. But as long as it's intentional, I'm pretty big on that. Like, look at your choices, like, because people are like, I don't know who I am. I actually hate that because they're like, I don't know who I am, and I'm like, what do you want to be? And they're like, I don't know. Like, that's the problem, and I'm like, that is the problem because you don't even know who you want to be. Like, who are you? It's not predetermined who you are, my guy. Go out and make a decision. If you want to be a singer, go sing, dude. I don't care if you suck. Like, I know there's so many artists that suck at singing, dude. Like, go make an actual choice about what you want to be, and then go do that, and that's an authentic life.
I'll 2 things to comment to that. Anybody listening as well, question for you: have you ever heard Ed Sheeran sing when he first started singing?
Yeah, he was ass.
Horrible.
Yeah, he was so bad.
Now he's as far as I'm concerned, one of the most talented artists in our time.
He's fantastic.
He can sing, he can rap, he has a wordplay. He does
He
all
writes
his
so many
musics.
songs for other people. Like, he's just
Yeah.
a musical freaking savant.
And he was ass to begin with, to
man,
put
he
it
was bad.
lightly.
So,
And
like, to answer that, it really is just like an authentic life is whatever you want it to be. Just go and do it.
and that's what's so crazy about this is that that's literally it. I break down intuition into two ways. Super simple. Everybody has the gift of intuition, by the way. People are like, oh, I'm not gifted with it. No, you are. Ask yourself the question, what makes me want to fly? What makes me want to curl up in a ball? Whatever makes you want to fly, go do that. It's really that simple. So I love it. And last question is, if there's one last thing that you could leave with the audience today, whether about life or business, what would that be?
It isn't that easy, but it is that simple.
That definitely hits home. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man.
Have
Thanks
a good
for
one,
having me.
everybody. Thank you so much for listening to the Journey to Authenticity podcast. If you liked what both myself and Jonah had to say today, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. This ensures my ability to get the most interesting and qualified guests to help you transform your life and become the most authentic version of self. Also, why I have you here. If you are ready to take yourself, your relationship, your business to the next level and really transform and build the authentic life that you deserve, as we talked about in today's podcast, go to braidenbelnap.com or the link below. Fill out the one-on-one coaching application. We'll dive deep together and truly transform your life. Have a good rest of your day, everybody.